Mabuhay, this is Bob from Love Beyond the Sea. This video is a remake of one that I had on TikTok that had like 4,600 views, and then somebody told me that hey, it stopped taping after 2 minutes. I mean, it taped, but there was no sound. So I'm going to redo it here. I'm calling this Filipinas Don't Love Foreign Husbands When They Marry Them. Could be. So what? So I'm going to mention the comment here on TikTok that I responded to, and please subscribe here on Love Beyond the Sea. I've been married to my Filipina for almost 8.5 years now, so she's a great resource for me and our experience, and I keep my antenna up for what's going on out there in the Philippines community. And so I've got many videos to make to try to help men who are also interested in a Filipina wife. This comment on TikTok said, "What you don't understand is that there is no love." He's talking about a Filipina. "They come from poverty, and their ultimate goal is to get out of there by any means necessary." So I think this person was serious, and whether they were or not, it makes for a good, relatively short topic here. Now, as I've said many times before, and you probably aren't used to this on other people's channels, I don't have a big problem with the idea that a Filipina would be interested in marrying a foreigner more so than love that she can make a better life for herself, if that means leaving the Philippines, relocating to Canada, Great Britain, United States, Australia, basically anywhere. That happens. So that's not a concern to me. I know they mentioned love there because to a lot of men, they feel that when they've been told that their Filipina loves them, which could be as early as the first chat or maybe in a couple of months, that they believe them. I'm not always so sure you can believe that, and I certainly wouldn't believe it if I heard it that quickly. Do they come from poverty? Many of them, yes, absolutely. Is their ultimate goal to get out of there by any means necessary? I think, some of them, that is the case. And if you've been to some parts of the Philippines, then that wouldn't surprise you. Their opportunity then, best chance to do that is to find a foreigner, like myself, who was looking for a wife in the Philippines, and recognize that she's going to have to marry him in order to do that. And many of them do. Now, the no love part, I'll tell you what, we got married in only 54 days. I met her online like March 27th, proposed on day 18, went down there and met her in person around April 24th. This is 2015. We got married on May 10th. And then she was with me about 8 months after that, in January of 2016. So that was pretty quick. Did I marry her because somebody finally said they loved me? No. I married her wanting to have someone to love. That means if she would marry me, I would vow or promise publicly to marry her and have other people hold me accountable to that. And I meant every word of it when I told her I was going to love her. And we didn't really talk about love so much. I know we intentionally didn't even say those words, "I love you," before we met in person. And when I met her in person, we were going to get married just, 12 days later on my first trip there. Since then, my message here on this channel has been to earn your love, because she may be interested in what a foreigner can give her, If there's an age gap, a big age gap, I mean, like 15, 20, 25 years or more, then there most surely is some kind of financial component. And that doesn't break me up, and I don't think it should break up anyone else. I think that's just to be expected. And it's no big deal unless you make it a big deal. And if, guys, if you expect a woman from 5, 6, 7, 8,000 miles away to actually love you when you really haven't been through much of a war together, then, that's just unrealistic. But what you can do and have total control of is how well you love her. It's almost like, can be like an arranged marriage. And even in those cases, it's possible they know of each other through their parents. I'm not an advocate for arranged marriages, but there's two people that they don't know much about how they interact with each other, and they have an opportunity to stay married and have a great marriage, great family maybe, if he loves her. And you don't have to love her until you get married. When you get married, when you go through that marriage ceremony, you're going to be taught, especially in the Philippines, what it means to love that woman. And you can decide then that you're going to love that woman, and you're pledging that not just for that day or the honeymoon, but until the day you die, or until the day she dies. And that's the way I want it. And I figure that if I show her that I'm the best person for her in her life, that she's going to want to stay with me. And there's no pressure doing that, because I enjoy being good to her. I enjoy loving her. I enjoy listening to her. Can't wait for her to come home from work and tell me how her day went, what's going good, what's going bad, what's getting better, what's getting worse, and encourage her. And I pray for her separately and together. I enjoy doing that. In other words, I think it's okay. Even if she said, would you marry a Filipina that says, well, okay, Bob or Jim or somebody, I don't love you at all. I can't honestly, intellectually say that I have this feeling of love, but I'm going to be your wife and try to be the best I can. I would take that, because that's just the way it works. Many people have said, well, we used to love each other, but somebody changed. Well, somebody changing is no reason to stop loving them. Because as a Christian and as a husband, my job from God is to love her, and love her no matter what, all the time. So I can't use circumstances as an excuse. I can't use her behavior or misbehavior or whatever as an excuse. It's up to me. I need to show her that when things aren't great, that I still love her and support her. A lot of my videos talk about how I do that, because this is a marathon. When you get married, you should get better. I'm going to do a video one of these days, maybe on the stages of marriage that I saw recently, and you can kind of pick out what stage you might be in at. But it does get tough eventually, when they say bloom is off the rose. And then you really get by on love, which is doing what's best for the other person. I really don't care about the feelings. I feel like I can help her to develop those feelings of love if I treat her right. In my case, that's loving her. If I say, I'm going to do everything I can to meet your needs, protect you, provide for you, encourage you, assist you, whatever it is, help your family, then I am loving her, okay? And usually that sort of behavior ends up being rewarded when it's genuine and when it's consistent, and that shows her that I love her. So if the love, even if the love wasn't present, and she said, well, I'll marry you, but, we'll see if I love you later, I'd say, okay, because I would think she's going to love me, because I'm not going to give her any reason not to. I'm going to be better for her than anyone else could be, and better for her than she expected. That's what I try to do. Now, that's not saying that if a couple had known each other for longer than we did, I mean, I proposed to her on day 18. Let's say that you had communicated extensively for a year or two, maybe even you spent 6 months in each other's presence, in the Philippines. Well, then, maybe there's some loving feelings, but still, those loving feelings can go away in a hurry if that's all there is worthless feelings. I think you'll develop loving feelings, even if I had no affection for my wife when I married her. I would still have affection for her eventually when I tell myself every day I'm going to love her. And by doing that, I have developed strong feelings for her. I'll tell you what, after 8.5 years, those feelings get stronger all the time, but not without the effort and the strain to put her above myself. So I have strong feelings developed for her while I love her. And I think a woman can do the same thing. Let me know if you think I'm nuts, or if it kind of makes some sense that maybe in these very long distance relationships you have to be a little realistic and say, this person's so far away, we're not going to spend much time together, where you really develop the relationship. And so we're going to get married. We're going to have the best of intentions, but I'm not going to take anything for granted. And I'm going to go out and do the best I can to love her. Whether she loves me or not, who cares? But she will love me after she sees how much I love her, and it's consistent. We can make up after, arguments, and she can see I'm not going to hold grudges against her, then she's not going to hold grudge against me. So what I'm saying is, I don't totally disagree with much of what this comment said. What you don't understand is that there is no love. They come from poverty, and their ultimate goal is to get out of there by any means possible. Maybe a bit overstated or simplistic, but there's a lot of reality in there, so I'll make a video about it and try to encourage men that if she tells you right away she loves you, it probably isn't true. And you can develop feelings for her, and she can develop feelings for her once you're settled, but do not make the mistake of expecting her to just, respect you and treat you good and love you, because I think it's better to put the onus on yourself as the man and say, this relationship will go as good as I lead her. This relationship will go as good as I love her. And I think that's the way it has to be. If you marry a woman from anywhere. So let me know what you think about this. This is a topic that I take very seriously, because I've heard and read comments from people that they say, well, they love me. Well, how do you know? I mean, how do you know that? Sometimes those relationships don't last very long. Did they love you? No, of course not. You might have been willing to love them, but if they leave you, they didn't love you. So you can't really take that love from them to the bank, because you just don't know. Better to fortify whatever good feelings there is by consistently being good to her. And it might sound like a drag, it might sound like it's difficult. It really isn't. Once you get into your head that this is just what I do, she's my top priority, I think everything gets easier after that. So I hope the people from TikTok that didn't get to see that video, again, probably have 5,000 views by this time. It only lasted a couple minutes, and this one here is going to be almost 15 minutes. So I wanted to just elaborate on that, because people would have missed out, the gist of what I was trying to say. So again, don't get bent out of shape. when you hear this, don't get upset. Just say, how much could she love me from so far away? I am determined to love her. She says, she loves me or whatever. Well, she may not even know what that means, which is why you got to show her what it means. It's not feelings, it is behavior. Like the Good Samaritan story in the Bible. There are no feelings, personal feelings involved there. The Good Samaritan just did it because it was the right thing to do. Loving your wife is the right thing to do. So please subscribe, check out some of my 1,600 videos. There's a playlist called Just Us that has a couple hundred videos of my wife and I. She's very, very busy right now, working and going to school, and so she's not really in many of the videos these days, but we're doing great, and I hope you will also consider finding love beyond the sea.